everybody. Welcome to the Majors Live episode 332. We are on TMSNX Radio, themajors.net. I am Adam Hernandez. With me is Dorf. Dorf, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. Yourself? I know it's our, this is our first show of the year.
Yep, first show.
January, first show in 4 months almost.
Yep, first show in quite some time, but we are back at it, and probably at a time right now that is there's definitely plenty going on. We've got
plenty to do.
Yes, yeah. There's we're gonna do a little catching up on a topic that's been going around for what, the past month now. And that's that's the Houston Astros little cheating scandal that they had going on, or have going on, or whatever had going on. We're going to be talking a little bit of the tragic death of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna, as well as the 7 other individuals on that helicopter from this past weekend. But first, we're going to go ahead and start off with the Super Bowl 54, coming up this Sunday from Miami. The San Francisco 49ers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. We have the number 1 out of the NFC taking on, what were the Kansas City Chiefs, Dorf?
Oh,
were they
I think they were the 2.
Were they the 2? Yeah, because Baltimore was the number
2.
1. I'm pretty sure KC was the number 2. But I don't know, Dorf. Heading into the Super Bowl, I was actually, I don't know. I was actually kind of pleasantly surprised by, the games going into it, because I thought we had a lot of good matchups heading into it, and obviously Ryan Tannehill was probably the biggest surprise of the postseason. What he was able to do. Get in there, take over from Marcus Mariota, and just see where the Tennessee Titans were earlier in the season. 'Cause didn't they lose like their first 2 or 3 games this season?
They look terrible. I'm not exactly sure about their record. I'm sure I could look it up here, but I know they were off to a terrible offensive start at the beginning of the year under the leadership of Marcus Mariota. They traded for Ryan Tannehill earlier in the offseason. Essentially, Miami gave him away just to shed the salary, as much of the salary as they could. And the idea was, Marcus Mariota's missed games the last couple of years. It wouldn't terribly hurt to have a veteran with some starting experience and not play the late round with no experience or veteran, lottery where who knows what you get. We really need a guy here to win us some games and, or at least keep us in some games. And Ryan Tannehill did a lot more than that. Quite frankly, his ability to not turn the ball over and be, solid enough on third down helped the Titans, make it pretty damn far, a lot farther than most people expected it, making it as a 9-7 wild card.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel really, he really seemed to get things going with them with that team at just the right time. And you look at Ryan Tannehill, like you're just mentioning, but Derrick Henry as well. I mean, up until that AFC Championship game, the guy was rushing for almost 200 yards.
He had a 200-yard rushing day in a playoff game.
Yeah, and he was averaging almost 200 yards every single playoff game that he was in. So obviously that helps out Tannehill a lot as well, when you can rely on, your running back getting that type of yardage.
And averaging 5+ yards a pop too.
Yeah.
So
obviously, Tennessee was probably the biggest surprise of this postseason. And even in that AFC Championship game too, they jumped out to like a 17-3 lead or something like that.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And then just fell apart.
Yeah, they fell apart. I mean, Pat Mahomes just lit it up and just turned things on in the second half, and Yeah, Pat Mahomes was, every bit of, I think, what everybody expected him to be this postseason. On the other side of things, San Francisco looked good as well. They disposed of Green Bay, even though Green Bay had that kind of tried to make a game out of it in the fourth quarter, but
No, it was way too.
yeah, it was way
late.
too late. It was way too late. But I think what we have going in now to this weekend is going to be a matchup that I don't think anybody could be too disappointed with. I mean, the 1 and the 2 out of the respective conferences, you've got that that San Francisco, I think, is pretty well balanced. But when it comes to Kansas City as well, you've got Pat Mahomes leading that offense, and as well as a pretty good defense out of Kansas City as well. What are your initial impressions about this matchup going in?
Well, both teams have very weak secondaries.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers, if they were smart, would essentially adopt, in my opinion, the Tennessee Titans first half game plan, where the three-headed monster of Matt Breida, goddamn, I can picture him, Tevin Coleman, and Mostert there in the backfield, just pound the rock, control the time of possession, limit the number of chances Pat Mahomes has to beat you. And you know what? Quite frankly, Kansas City outside of Chris Jones up front is just pretty, in my opinion, in the front seven as well. So their defense is definitely better than last year. However, they're still not, definitely not the strong point of the team. But at the same time, I saw an interesting analysis by ESPN's Dan Orlovsky today where he watched a bunch of film. The 49ers have the highest percent usage in zone defense, playing zone defense, highest percentage of the time in all the league. The Chiefs run the highest amount of what they would call RPOs, run pass options, play action, whatever you want to call it, of the entire league, which zone defense, you can't really play zone against that. That's what it's, RPOs are designed to essentially make zone defense unplayable. If it'll be interesting to see if Kansas City, or rather San Francisco realizes that we can't sit back in our traditional zone here and tries to play man-to-man, whether or not they have the burning speed on the back end to keep up with the speed demons that the Chiefs can throw at them. And that was an analysis by Dan Orlovsky there. Hadn't thought about it that way, but that's an extremely good point from his perspective. If the 49ers defense is zone, complex zone looks, let the front seven swallow you because their pass rush is damn special. But at the same time, if you have to play man or man free to prevent the burners from running past you and to be more honest against RPOs, we may not see their front seven be able to get as much pressure as they have all year long, which means, Patrick Mahomes may have all day to pick that defense apart.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, could this essentially then all come down to the 49ers' pass rush, and if they're able to get pressure on Pat Mahomes and kind of alleviate some of that, some of their weaknesses in the secondary, if they are pressed to go man-to-man instead of a zone coverage, which is obviously what
to be
they
entirely honest, the Chiefs' offensive line is pretty overall. I mean, the right tackle, Mitch Schwartz, he's damn special. But the rest of the unit is just kind of And if one-on-one, loud building, silent count, who knows how it may end up turning out here? Because yes, Patrick Mahomes is elusive, but God, Nick Bosa and DeForest Buckner are scary.
Yeah, they are. So, I mean, heading into this weekend as well, I mean, obviously, like you just mentioned, Pat Mahomes he is an elusive QB. He can get it done with his arm and with the legs. Do you think that San Francisco pass rush can neutralize him a little bit in that regard?
Their key is going to have to be not over penetrating. You see so many big, huge chunk plays, whether it's Mahomes with his legs or just big chunk plays on deep crossing routes, where just the entire front four is just push past Pat Mahomes, and all of a sudden he's got no obstructions in front of him, where he can either run for 20 yards because that's how far the dropping zone defense is dropped, or he can, drop a dime to a wide open crosser who, of course nobody's going to be able to run with if they're man-to-man. Nobody's going to be able to run with a guy like Tyreek Hill or across the field. The key is going to be not over-penetrating and not over-pushing it. At the same time, you see the kind of strategy where, in college football especially, where you've got a dynamic running quarterback who's not necessarily a great thrower, where you just box him in and make him beat you with his arm. If they try and do that to be as cautious in the pass rush enough to kind of do that, Pat Mahomes will eat him alive, even with his arm. So you have to balance taking your chances and, potentially over-penetrating and allowing some big plays in order to make some big plays. But if you just sit back and try and keep him in the pocket and make him beat you with his arm, he will, and it'll get ugly quick.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What about on the other side of the ball here when it comes to San Francisco? Obviously, they have, like you just mentioned before, they have that great pass rush with DeForest Buckner and Nick Bosa. But what about Garoppolo? I mean, Garoppolo has really come into his own, especially coming off of last year. He had that injury that knocked him out for a portion of the season. What type of game are we going to have to look at from Jimmy Garoppolo if San Francisco's going to?
You could see Jimmy Garoppolo's explosion in the second half of the season, kind of when the team traded for Emmanuel Sanders mid-season, got him away from the Broncos, and also Deebo Samuel, rookie receiver out of South Carolina, kind of got his feet wet a little bit and became more comfortable in the offense. All of a sudden, that pair there is one of the more dynamic receiving pairs in the league.
Sure.
Where at the beginning of the year, you were really wondering where the hell the outside offense was going to come from, and that's when you saw the numbers really take off post those two things happening. I think Jimmy Garoppolo plays a clean game and they run for 150 yards, which I believe is incredibly reasonable. I think they have a chance. Multiple turnovers or failure to get to 450 yards of total offense with at least 100 of that being on the ground. I don't think you're not going to win in a track meet against the Chiefs. Your job, unfortunately, is you're going to have to manage the game, keep the clock moving, limit the amount of possessions for your opponent, and let your defense go to work. But at the same time, you can't play 3 yards in a cloud of dust ball either, because all of a sudden you're going to look up at halftime and it's 28-7. You're getting your ass kicked. So take your shots downfield at the right time. Don't try to be a hero. Play a clean game. You've got a shot. You're not going to win in a shootout against Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs offense.
So is it fair to say then that the game is going to come down to that San Francisco pass rush trying to neutralize Pat Mahomes and the San Francisco secondary not losing the game essentially for them?
It's not that not losing the game. I mean, Richard Sherman, he doesn't have the straight line blazing speed. He's not going to be able to match up one-on-one at Tyreek Hill and run with him on a deep cross. He's just not going to. Well, he's never been that guy either. He's essentially, in Seattle, he got famous for being very good at cover 3, which, to be fair, that was the defensive scheme they played, and he was elite at it. He's never going to be able to run across the field with a guy. He's not the absolute burner, but at the same time, if you try and go vertical against him, good luck.
Yeah.
In man-to-man defense, which they potentially could switch into playing more exclusively, he may be asked to run across the field with a guy like Tyreek Hill or a Sammy Watkins, and you may see him get burned. It's not just him either. You may see the guys on the other side, or safeties getting torched out of the slot vertically too. You're going to see the Chiefs are going to make big plays, and you just got to limit when they happen and how often they happen if you want to stay in the game. Because if you try and play nothing behind you, dink and dunk, keep everything in front of you, dink and dunk ball, the Chiefs are just too fast and make too many people miss in open space that just ain't going to fly either. So I think it's really about that, if both teams play their A game, it's the Chiefs will win here, and it won't even be close. It's just about, if San Francisco is going to have to be, a grade level better, let's call it, than Kansas City to get the win here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kansas City as well. I think that this is going to be. I don't think that that Kansas City is going to run away with it in terms of obviously Pat Mahomes just going off like he has the tendency to do. I could certainly see this though being a 2-possession game, touchdown and a field goal, something like that, in the end. But I'm gonna go ahead and go with Kansas City as well. I'm assuming that's who you're taking.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Kansas City. Just in a straight head-to-head. I haven't seen what the final spread is yet, so I'm not gonna even attempt to pick against the action there. But straight head-to-head matchup, I'll take Kansas City.
I'm trying to see some of these prop bets because I know that's kind of our thing. We usually
do prop bets on this show.
That's usually one of our things. Let's see here. Let's see here. Will Pat Mahomes throw an interception?
Yes.
Okay. Yes is. Let's see. Is this right here? Yeah. So yes was getting plus 110.
Okay.
For the hell of it, I'll say no. Pat Mahomes will not throw a touchdown.
Interception?
Oh yeah, interception. Yeah, that's what I meant. Let's see. That's not a very good one.
Come on, you gotta get like the halftime anthem singer, halftime show stuff.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that though on here. Let me try to bring up a different one. Because they were getting kind of dumb. Well, I know we like the dumb one.
I got one here for you. I got a good list here.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, come on. I thought it was a list. Apparently it's not. So
yeah, that's what I'm running into as well. It's like I think it's a list, but it's not. Is this one here? Jesus Christ, just give me a list, people. Fuck.
Were you prepared for this show?
Well, it just like crossed my mind to get these prop bets going, and yeah, I can't find one. I keep on getting these printable lists.
Okay, here we go. Got one.
You got one? Okay.
Yep.
Hit me. Go ahead.
All right. Will the 49ers convert a 4th down bet? Yes, plus 20, no, minus 140.
I'm going to say yes.
Me too. Over-under on sacks for the 49ers at 2.5.
I'm going to go over.
I'm going to go over as well. Pat Mahomes interception. I want to get to the funny stuff. Will either team score in the first 6.5 minutes of the game? Even action at negative 110, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna say yes as well. I have a feeling there will be a touchdown scored on the first possession, whoever gets it.
Okay.
It's not usually what happens in the Super Bowl because they've got so much time to, the extra 2 weeks to prepare, the extra week rather, to prepare. Teams usually take longer to feel each other out, so that, that's not as even action as people would think.
What was it, a few years? Was it a few years ago when somebody scored a safety? And those were the first points scored?
Yeah.
I forget what it was a couple of years ago.
God, I forget what game that was.
Yeah, me too.
It was something stupid, too. Will the 49ers convert their first 3rd down attempt?
Yes.
All right. Man, there's no funny ones in this list. Oh, here we go. Result of the coin toss. Yes or no?
Result?
Tails.
Oh,
That's tails.
Give me heads.
All right, I'm going to take tails just for the hell of it. Demi Lovato complete the national anthem in under 2 minutes.
That's who's singing. That's who's singing the national anthem.
Apparently.
I'll go with the under, I guess.
Okay, I'm going to take the over. More receiving yards: Travis Kelce or George Kittle?
Kelce.
George Kittle. Come on, dude. Will Pat Mahomes run for more than 30.5 yards?
Yes.
Okay. Will there be a defensive or special teams touchdown?
For either team?
Yes. In the game, will there be a defensive or special teams touchdown?
No.
I'm going to go yes, and there will be a punt return by the Chiefs, either Hardman or Tyreek Hill.
I'm going to say no. Even though that stuff tends to happen in the Super Bowl, it seems like. I'll say no, though.
Shortest field goal made, over under 27.5 yards.
Shortest?
Shortest field goal of the game, over under 27.5. I'm going to go over. Teams are going to go for it if it's that short.
You know what? For the hell of it, I'll go with the under.
All right. Will the score ever be tied after 0-0?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Probably 7-7 or 10-10.
Something like that. 3-3, something, yeah. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Will the largest team lead by either team be over under 14.5? I say under. I don't think there will ever be a 14-point lead.
I'm going to go with the under. I'm going to go with the under as well.
I think this will be a two-score, like a 10-point game in any direction either way.
That's what I said too. I mean, I think I can see it being a 2-possession game, but like a touchdown and a field goal.
Jersey number of the first player to score a touchdown.
Oh, jeez.
1-24 or 25-99.
1-24, I guess.
I'm gonna go. Let's see. Yeah, all the Chiefs receivers are all teens. I don't know what numbers the 49ers guys wear. I'm gonna go lower end too. All right, and then there's nothing outside of the the Demi Lovato national anthem here on this list, but I think it's good enough for us.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. This past Saturday, was it Saturday? No, it was past Sunday. Was it Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning. NBA legend, icon, Kobe Bryant passes away at the age of 41 as a result of a helicopter accident just outside of Los Angeles. Also on board was his 13-year-old daughter, Gigi Bryant, and as well as 7 other people. A baseball coach from the area, his wife, their daughter, obviously the pilot. But yeah, just a tragic story all around. And it's one of those deaths, Dorf, where you kind of remember what you were doing or where you were when you found out it happened. Just, considering who it was. And, it's kind of like, Dorf, our generation of of Roberto Clemente when he died.
Well, I think our generation's thing is where were you when 9/11 happened?
Well, I'm talking. Are
you talking sports?
I'm talking sports.
Okay.
Obviously 9/11 is going to be our generation's Pearl Harbor, and that's the biggest news story that we'll probably ever live through. But Kobe Bryant, given who he was, he was obviously arguably the best basketball player to ever play the game. I think it's pretty safe to assume that the big three is probably Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. and you can have a debate, either or which one of those guys is going to be is the best to ever step foot on a basketball court. Obviously, the jury's still out on LeBron James, considering he's still playing and an active player. But those three are, always going to be in that conversation of the of who's the best of all time. Mm-hmm. When it comes to Kobe Bryant, though, and I know people didn't want to have this discussion when it first happened, and it's fair. Obviously, the guy just died. It was tragic. His daughter was on board with him. He turned things around when it came to how he conducted himself off the court. He very much became an ambassador for the game, not just for the men, but for the women as well. He was a big advocate for women's basketball and what was happening there, especially for, what his daughter was doing. But Dorf, I know some people are having some reservations about how they want to feel about Kobe Bryant. And this is based off of what happened in the earlier 2000s when there was that rape charge against him. And he was... Obviously, he didn't serve time based on what happened, but that's really because of him being able to
buy his way
out of it without having... And that's not to say that he was...
Well, it's not even saying that he was guilty. He was able to essentially pay the person that was alleging the offense to drop it.
Yes, the accuser
dropped.
That
was because he didn't, whether it was a consensual relationship that he didn't want to be dragged out in public, or it was actually what was alleged, and she, the accuser was willing to drop it for money, one or the other, or somewhere in between, or he wasn't guilty at all,
Yeah,
somewhere there.
It's
somewhere in that spectrum, whatever it may have been, he decided to cut a check to make it go away.
Yeah, and obviously not everybody can do that. Dorf, if this was you or I in that situation, that's not something that we would be able to do.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely correct.
And that's unfortunately one of the...
Well, here's one thing that's kind of lost in that. The state of Colorado could have continued to pursue charges without essentially the cooperation of the person alleging the incident in this case. They could have done that. The state of Colorado chose not to. Which, especially in any sort of rape, sexual assault or sort of physical violence charge without a cooperative witness here, or a cooperative alleged victim, the state's case is almost impossible to prove. So that's probably why they didn't try it. And that's not uncommon. That's not special treatment that Kobe got. That's just the way it has worked and probably will continue to work for a long time.
And Dorf, what makes this difficult is that there was really no resolution to it. I mean, the guy wasn't guilty and he wasn't innocent either. So is this something that, from a morality standpoint, and I know none of us, neither you or I are we're not perfect, obviously, but how does somebody go about this? How does somebody go about judging this, in your opinion? From a morality standpoint, is it okay to overlook something like that based on what he was able to do after that? Because after that, he kept his nose clean. You never once heard about Kobe Bryant getting into trouble. You never once heard him about, of Kobe Bryant cheating on his wife again, or going out and getting drunk and Mario Karting around L.A. You didn't hear that. You only heard about him being ruthless on the basketball court, but
being a good dude off of it.
A good stand-up guy off of it, who made the most of his celebrity to essentially do good things for the game of basketball and just people in general. So this is something that has come... This is something that I've had a little bit of conflict with myself on how I think I should feel regarding this whole situation. Obviously, it's a huge tragedy. It's sad all the way around. I definitely feel for his wife, Vanessa Bryant, their other surviving family, their other surviving daughters.
His three other daughters.
His three other daughters. But I don't know. What are your impressions on this, Dorf?
Well, I think my perspective is a lot informed by the age I was when the incident happened.
Sure.
It happened when, like, 2002?
Is it like 2003 or something like that?
2002, 2003. I was like 12.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't care, and for that kind of perspective, I still don't. It didn't affect my, at the same time, that was about the only era that I gave a damn about basketball at all, because that was the last time the Detroit Pistons were any good.
Yeah.
So, and he was on a team that blocked their path to would be a block to their path to an NBA championship. Ultimately, the Pistons, during the Kobe and Shaq era there in LA, were able to win one against them.
I think it was because of a Kobe 3.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, I wasn't a guy that, like, I'm not gonna, like, look back at my life 50 years from now and be like, oh, I remember exactly what I was doing when I heard Kobe died, because I was scrolling through Twitter sitting on the couch, and I actually I read about it before it actually broke on TV, and was sitting around with a couple other people. I'm like, Kobe's dead, and there was like, oh no, it's not one of those things that I'm gonna remember vividly the day that it happened and how I found out and what I was doing and what happened. The guy didn't have that. I'm not a big basketball guy, and this death, while tragic and terrible all at the same time, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything to me. And at the same time, the previous alleged transgressions by Kobe Bryant, it's not that I don't care. I'm just indifferent.
Okay, fair enough. I guess, because there are some people talking about it, and the people that are bringing it up are being ostracized and demonized because they are bringing up regarding, based on what happened.
It was the reporter for the Washington Post that, like, the fire wasn't even out yet.
Yeah.
From the crashed helicopter tweets out a story about how Kobe's a terrible dude. It's like,
yeah.
Okay, like, at least wait till the next day.
Yeah, I think in something like that, I think that's a little bit of grandstanding and just saying, hey,
It's essentially the look at me and my giant cock. That's all it is.
And I mean, again, you want to have that conversation about Kobe Bryant.
And the week after or the weeks after, fine. But, like, dude, the crash site is still on fire. They haven't even gotten to it yet. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, I have, if that's how people want to remember Kobe Bryant as a guy who possibly got away with rape, hey, I mean,
it's not the message. I'm saying you shouldn't talk about it anymore. It's just like, Jeebus, like,
no,
timing, please.
Like, and like I said, I think
you tweet.
I think something like that is important. To keep something like that in limelight, and not just that. I think it's just celebrities in general, because this is Kobe wasn't the first person to pay his way out of a a situation like that. And he's not going to be the last person. I mean, obviously, since then, there's been a multitude of different celebrities and rich guys that have been able to throw their money at a situation to make it go away. In a serious situation.
Just in Los Angeles alone. I mean, you just celebrity example and sort of athlete. You know, I don't remember exactly when this happened, if it was Bruce and or Caitlyn Jenner at the time, but recklessly drove and killed somebody in their motor vehicle with their car. They got away with it because of celebrity. If this, that's not an alleged he said she said case. Like,
no, that actually happened.
It actually happened. He was behind the wheel of a vehicle that killed somebody, and he was at fault in the accident. Or she. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, I can't.
I will try and be polite with the pronouns here. I don't remember exactly when where we were in the timeline or the progression there when that incident happened.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that too. But now I do remember that. Like I said, it's a horrible situation all around from what happened this past weekend. And I mean, I know how I'm going to go about all of this, and how I'm going to remember the situation. But I know it's people are going to have those, those conflicting feelings about it, and that's understandable. It's completely understandable. If you have those conflicting opinions on Kobe Bryant based off of what happened in the early 2000s and how he ended up finishing his life. And so, anyways, I want to finish off the show tonight, Dorf, by doing a little catch-up with the Houston Astros. I know this has been an ongoing story.
It's still not even really wrapped up. There was actually a chart today. Somebody has gone back and rewatched/listened to all Astros games in the 2017 season and charted the number of bangs. And they also found out there is 4 guys. Like, I remember Trevor Bauer initially when the story broke, like how many guys were, they had their major league careers ended by the Astros cheating. Turns out it's 4. 4 guys really got lit up by the Astros and have not pitched a major league inning since.
Wow. And Trevor Bauer made this.
Well, he brought up and he asked the question right as things were breaking. How many major league careers were potentially ruined over this, and now there's actually someone's done the checking. The answer's 4. There's 4 guys, and it's not like a 4A-er who was just up for one game. You had a specific example. I forget his name at this point. This is like his 5th big league season. He comes in, pitches an inning against the Astros, gets lit up for 6, and hasn't seen a big league mound since.
That's a interesting.
And in that inning, there was I forget, like 7 or 8 tipped pitches during that inning.
That's an interesting notion to bring up in all of this, because I don't think. Obviously, people aren't thinking about something like that. They're thinking about bigger things, whether it be the World Series and just the generalized success that the Astros have had. But that's an interesting concept.
Lives are relatively altered. I mean, Phil Hughes is another example. He was on his last leg. It was in his final season. Also, gave up 6 base runners in an inning and a third, 3 runs in his last appearance against the Astros. Tip pitches during his appearance as well were charted, and he ended up finishing that year with an ERA in the 5s. 8% of his runs given up that year were in that game. How much better would his ERA, and maybe he would have gotten another contract had that game not, had you were able to take that game off his record.
Is this, Dorf, does the MLB, what kind of responsibility do you think the MLB should be taking with all of this? Because it seems like once again, Major League Baseball is a little bit behind when it comes to this next big scandal that has come about within the game itself, because they were behind when it came to, well, they're culpable too when it came to the steroid thing, but I don't obviously I don't.
Hey, I'm on record saying steroids should come back to the best thing that ever happened. Remember my debut on this network, on this show?
Yeah, yeah, I do, and I think you made a good point. When it comes to this, though, obviously, Major League Baseball isn't going to cover up or turn a blind eye to a team using technology to get an edge in baseball games. But at the same time...
It already has, though. I mean, you got the Red Sox earlier, I think it was in 2018, got caught using Apple Watches in the dugout, and all it was, don't do it again. That's all they did. Like...
I think though that this is obviously on a different level. I mean,
true, fair enough. But at the same time, like, how long was that? There was a, this one hasn't been fleshed out yet by the let's call it the YouTube sleuths.
Uh-huh.
But the Red Sox in games leading up to that, how many times were their performance increased because they had getting a text message with the pitch that was coming in and had a whistle code. Someone whistled in the dugout instead of not beat on a trash can.
Okay.
Like, that's a potentially could have happened too, and the homework hasn't been done on that yet.
Okay, that's
during their championship season as well.
That's fine, Dorf. Then what type of responsibility does the MLB take in all of this then? How much
stealing signs itself isn't illegal per the MLB rules.
No, it's not.
Use of technology in that fashion, I don't think I would have to read the rules and bylaws. It's not explicitly illegal. That's my understanding. However, it's like one of those, it violates the spirit of the rules.
It seems like it's a very ambiguous...
And the spirit of the, it ruins the integrity of the game, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. I understand. I don't think you can make the Astros vacate their title. You can't go ahead and give it to the Dodgers.
No, and Manfred has already come out and said that.
Congratulations. Guess what? They still have the memories, the revenue, the trophy, the everything.
Yeah. Related
to winning that World Series. Everybody is oh yeah, they had to vacate it, but in the minds of everybody, everywhere but the record book will show the Astros won the World Series that year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can really, unless you could find individual players, but then again, like prove that I could actually hear that. I mean, just because a mic that's a condenser mic, field mic that's located in the dugout, hears somebody banging on something doesn't mean that information ever made it to the batter. Or there's a lot. I know there's some still shots. It was Marwin Gonzalez when he was still playing for them. Like really laying off some tough pitches when there was the double bang coming for an off-speed pitch. Like there's no proof that he just didn't pick that up out of the guy's hand and see it. Like, yeah. So, and if you're going to start trying to fine or suspend players, like, oh boy, like get prepared to get your ass sued, because that's not something you can prove without a reasonable doubt. Which, this is employment. You don't have to. This isn't, the United States judicial system. But at the same time, good luck in getting that enforced, because there's nothing specifically in your contract or anything like that says you can't do it, to the best of my knowledge. So all we can really do is go after the team for, ruining the integrity of the game, which is what the MLB has chosen to do. And I think you could say they could go harsher, but realistically, I don't know what else they can really do, because the money's money. The World Series title is staying. It's what, $5 million?
Mm-hmm.
To an MLB owner, Jim Craney's an oil guy. He shits $5 million for breakfast. Like that's nothing to him. The first and second round picks, congratulations, you punished the teams of 5 to 10 years out. You haven't hurt the team this year.
No.
You're not going to hurt the team for probably the next 4 or 5 years.
No, the Astros are still going to be really good this year, and
it would be something to be like, all right, well, we're voiding all your minor leaguers' contracts. They're now all free agents. And that's happened, believe it or not, in baseball before. I forget what it was. the exact scandal, or the exact reason, and it's been about probably 100 years, but 1 year for some sort of cheating scandal, they voided the contract. The league voided the contracts of all the minor league players.
Wow.
And allowed all their minor league talent to leave if they wanted to.
Wow. That's like kind of what happened to Penn State. I mean, the equivalent to what happened to Penn State when they
cut the scholarship load in half. Yeah.
And allowed transfers to transfer without having to sit out.
Without penalty. Because, I mean, that was nothing they did.
No. A couple of other things. Obviously, there's so many different, aspects to this story, Dorf. Mike Fiers, though, obviously he, is he a hero in all of this? Obviously, what type of, do you think he does get any backlash going forward? Obviously, Jessica Mendoza thinks that he did the Astros dirty, but
well, okay. At the same time, Jessica Mendoza is both an employee of the New York Mets and ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
New York Mets manager got fired during the scandal. I don't put any weight behind that statement. She has a biased interest to make that statement. She's not a neutral commentator. Not gonna, I'm not dismissing her because she's a lady or something like that. I'm sorry. She works for one of the teams that's had some of the collateral damage.
I think she's damn good at what she does too.
She's totally fine as an analyst. I think team could be better if A-Rod wasn't on it. I think A-Rod's fine. They just don't work well together.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. At the same time, I'm not putting any weight into that because her Mets got hurt as well.
As far as Fiers goes though, I mean, what type?
Mike Fiers, you'll never be able to tell. Dude's under contract this year for a third-party team. He's kind of a guy that he has fringe stuff, but he's excellent with his fringe stuff. And as soon as his excellent command and/or stuff falters even a little bit more, he's going to be out of the league anyway.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a guy that's going to get umpteen chances because he throws 98 consistently. He barely touches 90, if that, and as a master painter instead of a fireballer. Those guys generally, Mike Fiers has already made it past probably his expiration date. If he didn't have elite pitching ability rather than just throwing ability, he's probably got maybe one more minor contract in him, even if there wasn't a vendetta out against him, potentially.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll ever, even if he decides to say that, the league has colluded against me to destroy my future career, I don't think he has a case.
What about the Astros? I mean, how did the Astros press on from this?
We'll see. I mean, they hired Dusty Baker, R.I.P. all their bullpen arms.
Yeah.
I don't know. At the same time, Dusty Baker's last two seasons were 95 and 97 win seasons as a manager. You got to think about that. He got fired after a 97 win season and a playoff appearance.
Yeah. Well, I guess baseball has their villainous team then. I mean,
the only problem is it's in Houston. It's not the Yankees aren't the evil villains anymore. The Yankees are going to be fucking good and exciting to watch this year.
Yeah, but
God damn it.
the Yankees though aren't cheaters. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
God.
The crazy part is they're going to have a guy, Brett Gardner's probably going to hit 8th. Dude hit 30 bombs last year.
Yeah.
Dude hit 8th. Like, come on. Tigers didn't have a guy break 20.
You know what, though?
I'm their team leader at 12.
I'm okay with hating the Astros, though. Just because I was so sick of hearing about the Astros at the end of last season. Mm-hmm. And it seems like every season since they got good. I'm okay with hating them. I'm sick of them.
Garrett Cole's gone.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't think they're winning. I don't think they're winning.
Some talent.
Yeah, they're not winning the World Series this year.
Or I wouldn't crown them the preseason favorite. I think, quite honestly, the Yankees are.
Yeah. Well, one last thing in regards to all of this: AJ Hinch, Alex Cora, shit. Why is he eluding me?
Carlos
Beltran. I mean,
Beltran was a player during it too. That's the crazy part. He got fired before he even managed a game.
Sorry,
mutually parted ways. Bullshit. He got fired.
Do they get jobs in Major League Baseball ever again?
it's going to be a while.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well.
Which is sad because both of those guys are, we don't know what Kellis Beltran is as a manager yet. He never even worked a game. Both Cora and Hinch have been incredibly successful.
Fuck, I wanted Cora in Detroit when he was looking for a job. I'll take him now.
It may be a situation like Detroit mid-season or Detroit end of season this year, or another team in that kind of similar upswing. Maybe it's the White Sox move on from Rick Renteria. He was the guy that helped them bottom out and start building back up. Now it's time to hire a more higher-end manager to take them across the finish line.
So you think
maybe that kind of situation, or maybe like in Miami with Don Mattingly decides to be done, or they decide to part ways with him.
You think Cora is a possibility for Detroit?
I wouldn't hate it.
No, I wouldn't hate it either. I would take it. If they announced Alex Cora was going to be the next manager of the Tigers tomorrow, I'd be perfectly fine with it.
I mean, you're eating multiple years of Ron Gardenhire's contract extension before it's even started, but I don't care. Not my money.
Yeah, I don't give a shit either. I just want fresh face and not old school, baseball bullshit and Ron Gardenhire. So, yeah, it's
in Ron Gardenhire's defense, he's been asked to make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Yeah,
it's still chicken shit. He hasn't dressed it. He hasn't polished his turd much. So, I'm on record here on other programs on this network saying that it didn't matter who manages the Tigers right now. They're going to be bad anyway. So,
and I was the opposite.
It matters probably next year who starts managing the Tigers. I would say next year is the first year it starts counting again, where it really, really matters who's going to be the guy there in Detroit.
God, I fucking hope so. I can't. Oh, my God. Yeah, it's going to be another ugly year again.
Yep.
Anyways, though, that's going to do it tonight, though, for the Majors Live. Catch us again next week, same time, same place, here on TMS Next Radio, themajors.net. So I gotta get some music going. See, it's been quite a while since I've hosted.
You're out of practice.
And ran the board at the same time, so I got to kind of get into get back into the swing of things. I got to get back into in shape again. Sitting here on my ass, running a board and talking into a microphone. But anyways, though, that's gonna do it. We'll be back again next week, same time, same place, for the Majors Live. Anyways, so for Dorf, I am Adam saying have a good night, everybody, and bye for now.